talking to some of the guys the last couple of days about the downfield blocking. Can you take us back to that the Berlin run? I mean, I saw Tyler was breaking off even before you even got out of the trash there. Like, what did you see when you saw that?
I kind of had a two-man kind of almost police escort with AP and Tyler. But that's how those runs happen. Like you said, Tyler broke off before I even got into full stride. I mean, he seen that I was coming out of the run, and then he started just taking off looking for work downfield. That goes back to something I mentioned earlier, is just guys playing unselfishly and understanding that doing that will ultimately lead to a big play. And same thing for the running backs. If we have a fake or something in the flat, we're sprinting full speed, just maybe to pull one guy just 1 foot out of the passing lane so that Daniel can, deliver the ball downfield. So I think that's been a big part of our success this year.
We've noticed, like with Pitt and AP being great blockers. Do you think that's the way it is with all receivers, or are you blessed to have a good blocker?
There definitely have been stories of receivers who have not, played as hard as the receivers that we have. So I'm always thankful for the guys that we have, and I think that's a testament to the front office of how thoroughly they watch film and vet. Like, hey, who are we going to bring in here? Are we going to get guys who are going to play all 4 downs hard and play for one another?
What do you do on the bye week? Do you have a set routine you've gotten over the years, or is it different year to year?
Yeah, you got to get a little work in. Similar to what you would do if it was a normal week to try and flush out some of that inflammation. But definitely on the back half of the bye week, you got to decompress. I think that's taking advantage of the bye week. Obviously, if you just spend the whole bye week working like a normal work week, then you really don't get that opportunity to recharge and reset. And I think that ultimately leads to an advantage to other players around the league who may have done so already. So I think it's a good balance between beginning of the bye week, getting some work in, flushing out the inflammation like a normal work week, but then on the back half, being able to just decompress, get some R&R in.
JT, you mentioned it a little bit when we were in Berlin, but as a former track guy, did you have a greater appreciation for doing what you did at the stadium that Jesse Owens won the 4 gold medals, and we know what was going on at that time?
Oh, no, definitely. I was telling a couple of my family members, it kind of feels like we kind of made history in that stadium as well. Like, almost we're a part of it. Of course, the magnitude of that was way different, but it just feels awesome to be able to share that with them. Like, hey, we were in a historic stadium with an historic kind of history, and we had our own little piece of history there.
Jonathan, I know you haven't played in Arrowhead, but what do you have to maybe be aware of going into that stadium this weekend?
I mean, obviously they mentioned the noise, the volume level there a ton, so that's going to be awesome though. I know that's going to be a challenge, but I mean, it's almost like in college when you have those big games in those loud stadiums and it's like 90,000+ people there. I mean, it's exciting, but of course at this level you got to make sure that we're on our alignments and assignments, but communication is going to be key, especially with what I've heard of how it's a hostile environment.
Is there anything you maybe learned about communicating with Daniel from that Pittsburgh game, which is also a pretty loud environment?
That definitely was loud, and I think a lot of that goes into the beginning of the week. Hey, how are we going to handle kind of the crowd noise? How are we going to handle that environment? Come in with different cadences, come in with, hey, let's see what the crowd noise is like. Maybe it might not be as loud. You never know. So you just want to have all scenarios under your belt throughout the week so that whatever you get on Sunday, you understand that we prepare for it throughout the week.
This year, Carly's taking a different spotlight because of her becoming the principal owner, but you've been here for years. So what was it like before she stepped into, I guess, the big magnitude?
I mean, Carly has always been very personable, always had a smile on her face, always speaking to a bunch of the players, asking their opinions, always learning. And I think you mentioned it's a bit of more of a spotlight now because obviously, the role that she's moved into at the forefront. But she's kind of been doing some of the same things, and we've all known Carly and gotten to know her over the years. But I just think it's just being a magnitude or a magnifying glass put on her because it's something different. But at the end of the day, that's why this organization is such a great organization, and you don't get the type of hospitality, you don't get the type of family atmosphere that you get here other places. It's from what I'm told. I haven't been anywhere else.
Jonathan,
how does she, I guess, build a relationship with you personally? Because a lot of guys in the locker room say, like, they go out of their way to make sure that I'm seen, I'm kind of felt and heard. So what's that been like for you?
I mean, same thing always. I mean, from day one, at the end of the day, even with Mr. Irsay still being here, I mean, you obviously want to put that effort in the forefront to say, show your appreciation, get to know them because they did a ton of research on you. So they know a ton about you. Of course, they'll get to know you more over the years. But you obviously want to get to know who their ownership is, what is their philosophy, things about them and their family. But she's like you mentioned, she's always gone out of her way to either create time, whether that's a specific, hey, I want to meet with you, or passing by in the hall, having a conversation with you. So that kind of energy being reciprocated, I think, is something that I don't know if it's everywhere, but I haven't heard too many places where ownership is taking a hands-on approach of trying to get to know their players on an individual level.
Jonathan, what did that run in Berlin maybe reinforce about patience? You talk about that a lot, right? Just letting the blocks develop or let the play unfold. Did it reinforce anything there?
Definitely, but understanding that you can't give up on the play and understanding the situation too that we were in. Obviously, we needed a first down, so you keep the legs churning, but guys just fall off. So being able to keep your eyes up and not just kind of bury in the offensive line and just get what you can get is, hey, I'm gonna keep my eyes up, I'm gonna keep my feet churning, and then you can turn the play into a touchdown like that.
What is it about the way Daniel is wired and the way Shane is wired that allows them to have so much synergy?
No, they're wired the same. They are. You guys have heard of how Daniel basically lives here, and when you pair that with Shane, I just imagine them in a meeting, and they're sitting there for like hours just bouncing ideas off of one another and just thinking, how can we go into this game with the most advantageous looks and put all of us in the best situation possible. Because I mentioned to you guys before, Shane, he's come up before practice, hey JT, this is what I'm thinking about. It's not on the script, but I want to try this at practice. So when you have a guy like Shane, a coach like Shane that's competitive as he is, and then you have a quarterback like Daniel who's also competitive, but also is as dialed in to his craft as he is, you can get special things.
How do you, in a game like this, you're playing a team that's won 3 Super Bowls in the last 6 years, who's there last year. Shane talks about trying to keep a level head. Do you yourself get hyped up for a big game like this, going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs? Do you try to stay level? How do you try to balance those two ideas?
Well, it's always great to go and play a former opponent like this. Like you mentioned, they've won 3 Super Bowls, so understand it's going to be a well-coached team. You don't just win 3 Super Bowls without being well-coached. So understanding you have to stay patient. You'll have to be able to establish a line of scrimmage. You're going to have to be able to, it's going to be a 4-quarter game. It's going to be a 60-minute game. Obviously, like I just keep over-reiterating is, you don't just win 3 Super Bowls without being talented, but also a well-coached team. So you can't get frustrated in games like this. You got to take it one play at a time, one snap at a time, playing at a high level every single snap.
There's still a national sentiment that this Chiefs team is, though they are 5-5, a lot of folks kind of see them maybe even as the favorite in this game. You guys are 8-2. You guys have had the best offense in the league the entire year. Do you feel like this locker room might almost kind of embrace that underdog mentality of, we look what we've done and folks still maybe not totally buying into the body of work we've put together?
Definitely, and like I mentioned, a former opponent, so obviously a lot of people out there giving them probably the benefit of the doubt, understanding that they're going to continue to fight. They're not just going to lay down, and which we understand as well. But we know it's going to be a 4-quarter game. We're going to fight, scratch, and claw until that clock strikes 0. And like I mentioned, we have to play at a high level every single snap going into this hostile environment.
Last one.
Jonathan, you guys have seen a lot of pressures, a lot of blitzes this year, because I think teams realize that if they don't, you'll do what you do, Daniel Jones will do what he does. Is that sort of just life now? You just sort of have to know going into every game that teams are going to heat you up on purpose.
Oh, definitely, and you understand, the more you keep winning, the more you keep having success. Defenses and D coordinators are going to try to find different ways to get you guys off rhythm, behind schedule. So it's going to be on us to be able to handle that week to week, whatever the flavor of the game is, whatever they decide to bring, whatever they decide to do. We'll have to handle that with our alignment, assignment, and technique. Of course, the coaches will brainstorm each and every single week to put us in the best position, but then ultimately on Sunday, we have to execute.